see so many people here. That's great. We're going to go ahead and not waste any time. Luke Walters over here is going to flip the coin, and Perry and McConnell are going to call the toss. So, you're our guest. Call was tails, and it comes up tails. So, you will receive the first question. Ready? Okay, guys. How do you create a bridge between students and university administration and the representation of student concerns? You have 2 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Go.
For this one. So first off, I just want to say thanks to everybody for showing up today, taking time out of your lunch to listen to what we have to say. I think it's awesome. So I guess I'm sorry I missed the question, but it's the how you will create a bridge between students. So really the bridge has already been created. I think it just needs to be continued on and utilized by students in your student government, as well as students that are currently attending classes around campus. As it's been mentioned, your executive ticket and in addition to your Senate is really your only link to the administration, faculty, staff, to represent you on a ton of different issues. That's why I think Courtney and I both have had a great time this last campaign season, because we've been able to go out to students, talk to them, see what they really want represented. Courtney and I by no means know everything that goes on this campus, and we are willing to go out and talk to you guys to find the different answers, see the things that are directly affecting you, and that's what we really want to bring to the administration when that time comes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Smith and Belknap, you have 1 minute for response. Go ahead.
All right, well, I would also like to thank everyone for coming out today. I know it is hard to sometimes give up your lunch period, but we're glad you're all here being involved and getting educated on your Senate. So as far as bridging the gap between the administration, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to politely disagree that there is a large gap between the student body and the actual faculty and administration. Oftentimes people don't even know who some of their faculty is and sometimes who some of their administration is. So the way Mackenzie and I have planned to bridge that gap is we work as ambassadors through the Admissions Visitor Center. So we're very familiar with mingling with the higher up faculty. And we're very familiar with some of the large donors and the large players within the Idaho State University administration. So we would use those connections and that networking we've gained through being ambassadors and working in recruitment to connect those faculty to you. So we would take your student voices through being your executive ticket, and we would broadcast those to the higher up faculty. We would use our networking and connections to bring you closer to your university administration.
Thank you. Good timing. All right, Smith and Belknap, you'll receive the next question. What will your efforts to assess student needs look like, and how will you make an effort to engage and listen to every student? Go.
Thank you. So one of the big things that we have decided to do throughout this campaign is not only to go out and talk to students and clubs, but also to try and bring more of a voice to students that are typically ignored in these elections. One of the big things that we decided to do is we actually made Arabic signs so that students from international countries who oftentimes are not very open and marginalized in the university could also be talked to by many of the students and feel like we are actually reaching out to them. A lot of students on campus feel marginalized, and that way their voices are not being heard, because we don't look at outreach campus, we don't look at international students, transfer students, and even community members in order to do our marketing styles. And I think that with our marketing abilities through the Visitor Resource Center and being ambassadors ourselves, we've learned a lot of ways to better market to the student body, to get people more involved, and also some of the ideas that we have as our executives is to be going out to the colleges and having lunches at colleges so that students that are in class from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. still have an opportunity to not only meet their senators, but meet their executive tickets. Another big thing that we really would like to do as your executive is have students that are coming into Idaho State meet their senators at new student orientation, because a lot of freshmen don't know who their representatives are, but if we have them meeting them at new student orientation when they first come to Idaho State, then we feel like that would better bridge the gap to students that are coming in new fresh-faced. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, Perry McConnell, you have 1 minute for response. Go.
Thank you. First of all, I would just like to applaud my opponent. The Arabic signs were an amazing idea, so good for you guys. That does promote diversity. Sam and I, we've also are promoting diversity within our party, and by doing this, we have been in contact with Ram Eddings with the Diversity Resource Center, and we've been trying to decide what we could do to better serve the underserved students. Along with that, we've also made up plans to do more outreach to the campus, because as of right now, there's a lot of opportunity for growth for not only the Senate, but the executives as well, to go out to the students and not just to require them to come to our office hours, to come see us.
15 seconds.
And they can come and talk to us whenever we want, and we're going to go out to their individual colleges, have lunchtime talks, and as well as the State of the Union address. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Perry McConnell, you will receive the next question. Explain the ideas behind your party name and our philosophy and how those ideas will influence your leadership should you be elected. You have 2 minutes, go.
Thank you. Sam and I are running with the United Students Party. We believe that our party stands for more than just being a Bengal. We believe that it stands for being a student, because we are more powerful if we stand together. Up against the administration, like our opponents had said, there's that big bridge. Well, we can better bridge it by, like our party name implies, staying united, working together. And that's what we're here for, is to work with you, to bring us all together so that we can make these changes. Our colors are blue and red. The blue, if you look it up, it stands for dependability and trustworthiness, and red is passion. We think that that's also unique to our campaign. When was the last time you saw blue and red in campaign signs? And those are things that we're going to bring to the university as executives. Unique, original ideas, and bringing us all together to really make a difference on this campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Smith and Belknap, you have 1 minute for a response. Go.
Thank you. So our name is the Paw Party. We are running as the Paw Party because when students first come to Idaho State, the first thing that they see while they're driving to Idaho State is paw prints leading to Idaho State. When you leave Idaho State, the first thing that you see is paw prints leaving Idaho State. And we decided that we wanted to have our political party be about the journey of Idaho State, from freshman year all the way to graduate students, from international students also to transfer students, commuter students, and students who live in the community as well. And all of these things happen at an orange and black university. We are orange and black through and through. We love Idaho State University, and we have tried to show that throughout our entire campaign of what we would like to see at Idaho State. Involvement is so down and apathy is so high at Idaho State. We want to bring that school spirit back to Idaho State, show orange and black everywhere as it should be, and continue the love for Idaho State and the school spirit that we have had all 3 years as I have been an ambassador, and the year that Katana has been an ambassador, as well as living in the community her entire life. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Smith and Belknap, you'll receive the next question. It's actually a little bit relevant. Considering the major problem of apathy on this campus, how will you work to educate students about ASISU issues and motivate them to be informed? You have 2 minutes. Begin.
Well, our big plan to educate and inform students is our senatorial and executive lunches. So the concrete plan would be every month to have at least one lunch in the student union building. The lunch would be free for students, and we would make it an open forum setting. So you could come in and tell your executive and your senators what you didn't like that we were doing, maybe something you liked that we were doing, any changes you wanted made, and we would also broaden that idea to each and every one of the colleges around campus, including the College of Technology, which often goes marginalized a lot by most of the student activities. So that would be one way to get students involved and interested in ASISU. We also have the idea of having students meet their senators at new student orientation, because we know that it's hard for students to get their voices heard in the Senate if you don't know who your senators are. Personally, I didn't know who my senators were for at least the first semester of coming here on campus, and I wanted to change that. That's one of the reasons that I decided to run. So I want every student out there to know who their senator is, and I want them to know what's going on in the Senate, because these decisions are going to affect you as students. So we want to be completely lucid with everyone. We want to have clarity. We want you to be able to come and talk to us. We want the most open communication as possible. So we're going to do that through these lunches. We're going to do it by meeting your senators, and we're just going to be as clear and connected with our students as we possibly can.
Thank you. Okay, Perry McConnell, you have 1 minute for response. Go.
Thank you. So I think this starts across the board as not just being involved on campus, but as well as addressing ASISU's needs. full-heartedly agree that I think the end goal and ideal is to have every student here know the representative, feel comfortable with their representative, be able to outreach to the representative so that they can have their voices and issues heard. I really think, though, it's a trickle-down effect. We are kind of striving and promoting to inspire those that we're also running with. We don't want to force you to be involved as a student. We want you to want to be involved. And I think that begins with your leadership. When your representatives are getting involved, having fun, they can come out to you, tell you what's going on around campus, because there's pretty much always something to do every day, and we really want to encourage that in students, inspire future leaders, and continue on the path we're going now.
Okay, thank you. All right, Perry McConnell, you will receive the next question. The biggest financial challenge is always budget cuts. How will you manage the budget cuts wisely? You have 2 minutes. Go.
I'll take this one as well. Really, as far as when it comes down to the financial decisions right now being made in the ASISU Senate, I've had the opportunity to sit in on the last couple of finance meetings. We have some of the line items in their processes on thinking through the budget. What it comes down to really is basic business sense. We have to realize what the students' tax dollars, or at least your ASISU fee, is going towards. I think it's important to realize that the bottom line necessarily isn't the green money that we see every day, but it's instead I want to visualize assets as student involvement. Get accurate numbers on what line items are affecting the students positively or negatively, and we want to adjust the budget for that. Really, it's like somebody explained it to me with a basic business loan. If a student isn't making payments on their loan, are you going to give them a higher loan in the end? I think we want to continue that into our different line items. The ones that are affecting students the most should receive increases if needed, or at least not be cut as strong. In addition to that, I also think your student government should take the hits whenever possible. This last year, like I said, in finance, we discussed changing the budget around a little bit, and as of now, what I know is that your student government is taking the largest percent cut. We want to keep the students involved, keep funding those programs that we enjoy and that you enjoy as well.
Is that all? Okay, thank you. Smith and Mellop, you have 1 minute for response. Go.
So one thing that we have both talked about is how best to help our line items be more efficient. One thing when I was sitting in on the budget hearings is that I noticed that a lot of the finance committee only looked at what we could cut, but never looked at what we could do if we increased the budget to some of the different line items. There's line items that are extremely efficient, that have done amazing things with very little money, such as the Civic Symphony, and yet we didn't look at how they could better be improved if we gave them any amount of extra funding. Instead, we looked at how to help efficiency by lowering the budgets in most of the instances, but after that, we never really looked at anything else. I've talked to a couple people in the finance committee about how we could better help other groups that are currently efficient, such as outreach campuses and the Civic Symphony, if we were to give them an increase. And I think that we need to be looking at not only cuts, but the possibility of cutting some groups that are inefficient more while giving more increases to other groups.
Thank you. Okay, Smith and Belknap, you will receive the final question. What do you think will be the most difficult responsibility to fulfill in your elected position, and how will you tackle it? You have 2 minutes. Go.
Well, I think what we've seen today, both with what our opponents are saying and what we're saying, is the most difficult thing that we need to tackle is student involvement. Working in the admission center, that's the #1 concern that we get from students is we want a more involved campus. How do I get more involved? So Mackenzie and I decided to tackle that head on when we were building things that we wanted to have as an executive ticket. The first thing we wanted to do was change our marketing up a little bit. Currently, most students that get marketed to are super involved students that just live here on campus. We want to expand that marketing to outside campuses, Meridian, Twin Falls, Idaho Falls. We want to expand that to commuter students, to students who maybe live in the Pocatello area and attend school here. We want to market to all 14,000 plus students here at Idaho State University and get them involved in activities. We want to make sure that students, even if they're not super involved, feel like they can still come to activities and feel included and feel like part of our student body. We work very closely with the International Programs Office, and we've gone to every one of their functions, and so that's how we're reaching out to international students. Students who may feel marginalized or may feel left out of certain involvement activities, we've been reaching out to them, and we've been connecting with the international students here at ISU, and we hope to increase diversity that way as well. And then another thing that we want to do to increase the involvement is we want to give more funding to clubs and organizations, because the number one way that students get involved on campus is by joining a club or organization. Mackenzie and I are testament to that. We're very involved in various clubs and organizations. So we want to give more money to clubs, and we want to make it more easy for these clubs to access funds from ASISU so they can grow and they can take on more students and get more of the student body involved. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, Brian McConnell, you have 1 minute for response. Go.
Thank you. So I think the biggest issue that faces really any representative is to be able to adequately represent you guys. Courtney and I bring different experiences, both in different colleges, as well as different age groups. The last statistic I've seen is that ISU's comprise about 60% female students and 40% male. Automatically right there, we do show a larger diversity and representation. But really what it comes down to is that my biggest, or the most difficult responsibility to fulfill would be to adequately represent you each and every single one of you, whether or not you're on campus here, if you're in Meridian, Idaho Falls, really across the board, whatever it is. In addition, like my opponents, I totally agree marketing is a big issue. We've been trying to work this last year through Senate as well as multiple of our own personal experiences to continue to market to those individuals who are already currently involved, but also those that we would like to see more involved.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so Brian McConnell received the first question. So the first closing statement will be made by Smith and Belknap. You have 3 minutes. Can you change that up? Okay, you have 3 minutes. You may begin.
Thank you again all for coming out to hear us today. One big thing that we want to talk about in our closing statement is just the things that we have planned to help students. It's not very much talked about in these debates, but a couple of things that we really want to help students with is that funding to different organizations and funding to the campus itself, we very rarely see students' money going back to the students and doing it in a way that can help students. So a couple of things that we really want to help students with is not only funding things like projects to help the Bengal Theater become more comfortable to students by getting new seating or new furnishings in the housing, also new security systems in housing so that students feel more secure on campus. But we also want to help students in a lot of different ways, such as getting more students involved by actually marketing to students. Most students are ignored at Idaho State University and feel like they have absolutely no voice. We market to students on Pocatello campus, the students that live here, the students that are here all the time. But we ignore the vast majority of the students that are outreach students, students that live in the community, and students who would have a voice on campus if they were ever marketed to. So that's one thing that as students and as ambassadors we want to do. This year we had a 19% increase in enrollment. We want to continue that strength at Idaho State University and continue that through Idaho State's representative as your executive ticket.
And the other main focus that we have is getting students connected to the Senate. Like I said, one of the main reasons that I ran was because I felt like the underclassmen were not represented. And I felt like you needed a voice in the Senate. So that's where our concrete plans of having those lunches and being completely open to students come into play. We have lots of solid plans that we want to enact to get students more connected with ASISU. So you don't have to meet your senator when you start running against them. So you can know who represents you from the time you step on campus to the time you walk through the Swanson Arch for graduation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Brian McConnell, 3 minutes for a closing statement. Go.
So what I think it comes down to really in the end is just representing you guys. Courtney and I have had a blast during this campaign, like I said, to really go out to see what you guys are affected by. As the late Robin Williams once said, no matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world. Although a little grandiose for our situation, I totally take that to heart. A lot of people have been asking us through this campaign, what can you do for us? And the only answer I usually tell them is that I don't know unless you tell us. Courtney and I are more than willing, and I'm sure she doesn't want to spend a lot of time in the office back there. We want to come out and visit you guys, go to even different campuses, different clubs, because we want to be involved as well. And I really think we want to push that with students. I think this debate today has done a great job of showing you what's in store for your executive next year. I really think that's shown the pros and cons of both sides. You've heard a lot of overlap between our two platforms as well as our individual tickets. And what really I think sets Courtney and I apart is our ASISU experience, our active role in the Senate this last year, as well as just our commitment to truthful communication. The Vice President, when elected, is in charge of the Senate, in charge of each Senate meeting, parliamentary procedure, and really various other activities that really beg experience in that position for success. Same goes for your president. I believe that they need to have an active back and forth between the Senate, as well as faculty, administration, student population. So I really think there's no doubt in my mind that Senator McConnell especially will be able to fill that role, as well as myself. Courtney and I are prepared, willing, and excited to take on the task of representing each and every one of you. We want to represent each program, each organization, each club, and every single one of the students. So really what I do, I just want to say thank you again for all you coming out today. I encourage you to vote, be informed, go online, ASISU/vote. Just get your voice heard through voting March 17th, May 8th. Thanks again.
Are you good? Okay, thank you. All right, I was going to advertise the voting again, but it seems like everybody wants to do my work for me. Again, 17th and 18th, beginning at 8, ending at 5 the next day. Log on to your Bangor Web, vote away, please. It's important. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day.